Right, all right, all right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen out there in YouTube land. I am Deleted Scenes, and I would like to welcome you to episode 68 of Unscripted. Human being, American, YouTube Ronin in the house. Already in the chat. Host of Films with Friends, on which I will be appearing this Friday night at 8. Creator of the 10-word review, Big Out Presents. Friend of the channel, FKHC 2005, sometimes known as Tim. E. Penzac wielding his blue wrench. Joining us from the UK, Shadow the Raven, Evermore. Fluff Chick Productions. The tired midnight blogger himself, Curtis Selby. All right. So, tonight is the episode that I have been promising. This is the episode where you, my loyal members and subscribers, get to take over the show. You get to question me on whatever subject you want, just as long as it doesn't get my channel yeeted or dox me or anybody else. So, all right. Well, been quite a week. Very busy one for myself and for a lot of people. Where I live is a bit of a heat wave going on. And at present, I do not have a working air conditioner. So if you hear a fan in the background, that's because I've literally got one about 2 feet away from me. Big schedule here on the channel. Very heavy work schedule as well. That might take me out of some of the July 4th festivities that are being planned here on YouTube, but we'll see. Heading on over to the chat. All right. And we will start off with the first question. Question, I want to ask the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow. African laden swallow or a European laden swallow? Well, I don't know the answer to that. I'm wondering how long I can hold this before someone. Hey, there you go. Can't really close that. Yeah. Okay, airspeed velocity of 11 to 16 meters per second. That's 40 to 60 kilometers per hour. Right on. What film title do you own multiple copies of various releases of the same? All right, I would say probably Blade Runner, because my dad first bought the VHS copy. And I have a DVD. I'm not sure I have the Blu-ray though. And I don't know what the status is on the 4K, but it used to be that whenever we got a new machine and we wanted to test it out, we would test it out either with Blade Runner or with The Last of the Mohicans. It would be one or the other. To test out sound and picture quality and whatnot. So that's one that I have multiple versions of. I have multiple versions of John Carpenter's The Thing. I have the Blu-ray and the 4K. And I might even have a VHS around here. I have to look. I have multiple copies of 2001. Because that was the other thing that sold me on. That was the movie that sold me on Blu-ray, was 2001. Because I had either just seen it on television or on VHS all those years. Then I saw it on Blu-ray, and it was like watching a completely different movie. Because you could see all of the detail. Now, with The Thing, when I saw it on 4K, I felt the same way, because there were all of these details that I hadn't noticed before. So it was 2001 that sold me on Blu-ray, and The Thing that sold me on 4K. So those are a few movies that I know I have multiple copies of. Okay. And hello to Sashi, joining us from the future. Curtis asking, what is your favorite color? Green. Because in the areas I've lived, I see so little of it. Carl's asking, I'm probably one of the few who like the original theatrical cut of Blade Runner. Well, I like it too. Because that's all I had for a number of years. I'm kind of an OG when it comes to Blade Runner, because I was, it's always been there. I was like 9 when it was released in theaters. Didn't get to see it in theaters, unfortunately, because of the R rating. But yeah, I think I could have gone through it. Now I'm not going to get into the whole is Deckard a replicant thing, because that's like the third rail of YouTube. We'll be here all night arguing about it. But there is a point. There's a point in the book that suggests that version of Deckard might be a replicant, because there's a scene where Deckard is arrested, and he's taken to this police station that he's never heard of, he's never seen before. And while he is there, they tell him, you're an Andy, you're an android, because they don't use the word replicant in the book. You're an android. All of your memories are, all your previous memories got wiped, and so they try to convince Deckard that he's, an android, and he escapes, and there's this whole shoot. It's actually a pretty good sequence where there's this whole, you know, they chase him through the building and he escapes, and it's interesting. Yeah, it is. It's more interesting if he's not there. Yes, there is the hint in the book that he may be. So when they got to the final cut, and they start emphasizing scenes in that, to try to make him appear that he's a replicant, my thought on that whole matter was it didn't make a difference in the end if he was a replicant or not, because it was the same stories being told. And in the end, replicant or not, he ends up in the same place. But when you get to the sequel, 2049, which I liked quite a bit, I know that it's not for everybody, and I get it, but I liked it quite a bit. It's very obvious that Deckard is human. Because that was a film that was being made by, you have one movie that's being made by a filmmaker who is clearly for Deckard as a replicant. And then you have the next movie being made by a filmmaker who goes, no, he's absolutely human. Now you have these two opposing viewpoints. You have Philip K. Dick who's the original author, and his whole thing is they have to be destroyed because they're kind of like these soulless beings. And then you have a filmmaker who looks at these same people and go, they're Superman, but they can't fly. It's kind of like the whole thing on The Shining between, Stephen King and Stanley Kubrick. Is you have these two diametrically opposed viewpoints trying to make the same story. In the book, the hotel burns, and in the film, it freezes. You have Stephen King, who's basically saying, burn in hell, whereas you have Stanley Kubrick, I don't believe in hell. So, it's, I think in the end, it's just up for, the audience to decide which, because we'll be here all night going into it. Just my opinion, but for the last 20 years or so, really tends to go for the simplistic, low-hanging sci-fi fruit story-wise. Yeah. Yeah, I'd have to agree at this point, yeah. And hello to Aged Boomer, host of Geeky Geezers, which will be at the top of the hour, 9 p.m. And my co-host on Live from Sparkwood and 21 every Tuesday night at 8:30. And hello to Mikey Stu's 4. All right, let's see. There was another question in the chat. D. Penzak asks, are you going to back the Thing expanded documentary? I'm going to have to look into it because it's going to be a matter of, how much am I going to be able to throw into it. And because there are a couple of other projects that are going on right now that I would like to help out more with than I have. But it's just a matter of having the money to be able to do that. And right now, I'm not sure I have it, but I am interested. I'm going to look into it and a couple of other things, but we'll see. We'll see. But as of this particular point, I am not involved with that, but I'm interested. So we'll see. All right. Let's see if there are any other questions in the chat here. Did I see the trailer for Nosferatu? Yes, I did. And it looks very good. It looks very good. This year in film has been very scattershot at best. And I've been disappointed by a number of movies. Movies that should have been slam dunks that just kind of petered out for whatever reason. I did like the trailer for Nosferatu. It's on my most anticipated list. The problem there, and again, this is just a matter of personal taste for me. Robert Eggers is very scattershot as a filmmaker. He has done things that I've liked. He's done others that I haven't. And the odd thing about it is that other critics' opinions, and at this point I do consider myself at least an amateur critic, the movies that other critics haven't liked, I've liked. And the ones, and then kind of the reverse. They like the stuff that I don't like, and they hate on the stuff that I do like. It's kind of weird. But when it comes to Eggers, I fucking loved The Northman. That movie is fantastic. I need to sit down and watch it again. I like The Witch quite a bit. I didn't like The Lighthouse so much. I think Willem Dafoe is fantastic in it. Pattinson isn't bad in it either, to be honest. People hate on him, but he's good in that movie. I liked the cinematography. That was interesting. But the story itself, again, it just kind of lost me after a while. I kind of just tuned out. And the young lady I was with, she wasn't a fan either. I think all the mermaid vaginas kind of turned her off. But I mean, when people kind of compared The Lighthouse to like an Edgar Allan Poe story, I get it. For me, it didn't come off. Maybe I need to look at it again. I don't know. But it really didn't do it for me. I liked the theater that I saw the movie in more than the actual movie, and I saw it in a movie theater called The Terrace. Now, Mermaid Hoo Ha. Yeah, there is. A film I need to see. Up to you. It's up to you. Um, I think I gave it like a 2.5 out of 5. I don't. It's up to you. Al says I love this stuff. For the most part, I do too. But he's done, like I said, he's done a couple I haven't been too thrilled with. Now, I saw the Lighthouse in a movie theater called Terrace that kind of mixed things up. They do mainstream stuff, but they do art house stuff as well. And it's the design of it is very much an old school theater. Now, what I don't know and what I didn't get a chance to ask on the night was there used to be this other movie theater in Charleston called the Terrace, that was called the Terrace as well. And, and I saw The Right Stuff in there and Amadeus and a number of other movies. And it got destroyed during Hurricane Hugo in 1988. And they never rebuilt it. But I always wondered if the people who are running the movie theater that is the Terrace now were the same owners, because there's very much the same vibe to it, even though this new Terrace has multiple screens. It was very much the same vibe. But, I really miss the older days of these like single screen theaters, that were like the 70 millimeter theaters, and the Terrace did that. Northwoods did that. There was an art house movie theater downtown called the Roxy that also did the same thing. But they're all gone now, unfortunately. But I miss that. And hello to Matt Sheetwood. All right. Next question. From Shadow of the Raven. I liked Pitch Black, but thought the sequels were poor as they just turned Riddick into a superhero. Thoughts? I like the sequels for different reasons. If I had any real issues, is the third movie is too much like the first one. Because I kind of felt like they were putting Riddick back to square one a little bit. And it's kind of his own fault that it happens too. But I thought the cast of the third movie saved it. I like Chronicles of Riddick quite a bit. And they were in the second movie, I could understand that they were kind of almost putting him into a superhero kind of footing. It is the one that most plays like a comic book, so I can understand. But I like the Riddick movies for the most part. you have the first movie that's essentially Alien on Tatooine. You have the sequel that's Chronicles of Riddick, and I actually do prefer the extended edition of it, which is the R-rated version. I prefer that. That's more expansive. It shows you more of the universe. And like I said, the third movie kind of brings things back to basics a little bit. I'm curious to see what the fourth movie is going to do, though. I think there's enough goodwill in the Riddick movies to give the fourth one a shot. We'll see, but yeah, I like them all for different reasons. All right, let me see. Yeah, the second Riddick film took things in an interesting direction. Yeah, very much so. Yes. Pitch Black received a great Blu-ray from Arrow. Did good, cool. I'll have to check that out. Carl Urban was great in the second film. Yeah, he is. He is. I would have liked to have seen more of him in the third movie, but he's basically just like a cameo. Carl Urban is usually good. Too bad we haven't gotten a Dredd sequel. Yeah, I'd like to see a Dredd sequel as well. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like it's going to happen. Do Dredd 2. I agree. Second one had interesting ideas. You just overplayed Riddick's macho image. Understood. And hello, Lee Anthony Davis. Good to see you, sir. There was another question up here from Mikey Sees 4. So be doing a Red Dwarf Reviews webcam every Monday after September 1st. What's your honest opinion on it? I have never seen Red Dwarf, so I don't have any opinions on it either way. I'm interested in seeing it. I've just never had the opportunity. Blake 7 is another one that I've never seen that a number of people have recommended to me. For I've always said this, for everything I've seen, you would be very surprised by what I haven't. And those are definitely two that are on the watch list. It's just going to be a matter of if I'm ever going to get around to them. So Lee says, Red Dwarf, great space sitcom. I've heard it. No, I'm thinking of Blake 7. I was just about to say, I hear Red Dwarf and Firefly mentioned in the same sentences a lot, but no, I hear Blake 7 and Firefly get mentioned a lot. Carl says, for me, season 3 was the peak of Red Dwarf. From what I recall, Red Dwarf is in the same vein as Hitchhiker's Guide and A Holistic Detective. Cool. Can't go wrong with Red Dwarf and Blake 7. No, certainly not. Have I seen Gary Anderson's UFO series? Some of them, because it was on television when I was very little. So I remember it kind of vaguely. It's another one that I need to readdress. Let me see. Are there any other questions? It is Stephen's Quest. I have to be really honest with you folks. I am making this up as I go. This is kind of my own particular brand of madness. And what I was seeing was kind of the death of the entertainment industry, and kind of the death of theater, and of movie theaters as well, of cinema itself. It's been like this. It's been kind of like this death of 1,000 cuts, and I guess the best thing to say would be that my quest is to kind of to point you in the direction of good cinema, of good television, of good. I'd like to do more in regards to books, and there's going to be some videos coming up about that. And there is good out there. You just have to find it. And there's absolutely nothing wrong in going back and enjoying the older stuff. Like I have never personally been a Doctor Who fan. I don't get it. It doesn't appeal to me. It certainly doesn't now, but it never really did before. But I understand, but I know enough about it and have seen enough to notice the difference in quality between what you've gotten out of the last few Doctors and what was happening at the beginning. Which is why I always say to the Doctor Who fans, they cannot take William Hartnell away from you. They cannot take Tom Baker away from you. They may have destroyed the scaffolding, but they did not destroy the foundation. And you still have that. I don't like where they went with Star Trek, but I still have the original show that I can go back and watch. There's nothing wrong with going back to the past. It's they can't take that away. They can change it all they want. But we're collectors. We have 100 years of good entertainment that we can fall back on. And good night, Matt Cheatwood. We have 100 years of entertainment that we can fall back on, and that's not lost. And they can't take that away from us. But there are still some good stuff out there, and there are people who still understand that it is about good storytelling, and it's not about, this is Matt says, the death of good storytelling. There are people who still believe in it, and I will support those people as much as I can. So my quest is to, if you can call it that, is to point you in the right direction of what is good, either new or old, because you all do that same for me. And failing that, the least I can do is be that alternative entertainment. All of you who are here in the chat, all of you who are watching on Twitter right now, everybody who watches the replay, you're all taking your time out to hear me speak tonight. And I appreciate that, and I take it very seriously. And that's why I try to give you the best show that I can. And, I'm not going to be for everybody, and they'll let me know it, and that's fine. Right. This channel is not an echo chamber. Yeah. But that's the quest, so to speak. That's what I'm trying to do. Sadly, Blake 7 was canceled by the BBC in 1981. The way they did it was to kill off all the characters in one swoop with no explanation why they did it. That's one way to end a show. Kill everybody. Doctor Who is an interesting idea, but it lost its way a long time ago. Not really a fan. I never really got too into it either. But that was from my own reasons. And hello to JPRPH1. I have actually seen the Gorgon, Dave, thanks to Connie Cleary. There are some of us that get together on a Friday night and we'll go on to Cosme and we'll watch a movie. And I saw the Gorgon, and I had a lot of fun with it. It's a good movie. And anything that's like Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee at odds with one another, it's interesting stuff. That's a fun movie. I like it quite a bit. This is one of the special channels where we win. Yeah, we're in this together, man. And hello to Sense Corner. Says I stopped watching Doctor Who before Matt Smith left, and I'm glad I did. Yeah, it seems like everything kind of went off the rails at around that point. So Matt Smith is interesting because and I haven't seen House of the Dragon, so I don't know how he is there, but he is oftentimes better than the movie he's in. One movie he was in that I did like, that I don't think a lot of people have seen, was a movie called Lost River that was written and directed by Ryan Gosling. And he's not in it, but he wrote and directed it. And Matt Smith is the villain in that. And, well, one of the villains. There's, Ben Mendelsohn's character is pretty nefarious as well, but Matt Smith's character will actually kill you. Interesting film. He's killing it in Hot D. Oh, cool. Okay. Yeah, I've heard some good things about that. But Lost River, if you can ever find it, it's an independent film. It's very hard to find. It is very David Lynch-esque. It's kind of like if David Lynch and Nicholas Winding Refn got together and did a movie. You know, I liked it. It's not going to be for everybody, but it's got a really good cast. Christina Hendricks. Oh, guy from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Fitz. He's in it. Saoirse Ronan's in it. Barbara Steele is in it. Interesting movie. Never heard of it. She said David Lynch. Never mind. Give it a look anyway. Give it a try, you know. But if you don't make it through the home movie, okay. Eva Mendes is in it, of course. Interesting film. I dug it, but you know. Let's see. There were a couple of other. Since said, just checking in real quick while I hang out with the family at the lake house. Matt was pretty good in the last night in Soho. He was villainy in that too. Yeah. Don't worry, Doctor Who season 3 will not be made because nobody is watching it. Disney will not put any more money into it as to mean shareholders will want an instant return. Changes are to come. Well, I mean, with these Disney tapes and the fact that we have these prior employees, some of whom I tend to believe maybe more than others, but we're finding out that a lot of the things that Midnight's Edge and That Park Place and Valiant Renegade have been reporting over the last few years, we're finding out a lot of that stuff was true. So I'm not surprised by anything that James O'Keefe is coming up with in these Disney tapes. You know, Chris Gore and Alan Ng, with their reporting on Disney, said a lot of the same thing. So I'm glad that we're seeing more higher profile journalists finally waking up to what we have known in this fellowship community, whatever you want to call it, for years. Sashi says, I appreciate the Dalek's approach to things after watching modern Hollywood movies. Exterminate, exterminate. Okay. All right, and Sashi has to go. All right, take care, Sashi. Yeah. Sashi is like 12 hours ahead of us. So it's already Monday for him, so it's back to the daily grind. All right. Okay, are there any other questions? Let me check Twitter real quick and see if there are any there. And hello to everyone who's joining us on Twitter, by the way. I don't want to think that I don't want you to think that we're leaving you out. If you have any questions as well, please feel free to jump in. Let me see real quick here. All right. Let's see. Lee says, The X-Files is one of my favorite American science fiction shows. My favorites are Squeeze and Tombs. Yeah, those are good episodes. And Doug Hutchison he does creepy very well. Of course, he's kind of a creeper in real life. So, yeah, that wasn't too hard. And deleted scenes of 1 to 2nd, by the way, is my alternate Twitter page, because I had to make up another one a little while back when I got blocked from my first one. I have this weird thing where I can't access Twitter on my PC, so I had to come up with this alternate page to get in. But deleted scenes 1 to 2nd is me, confirmed. It's my 2nd page. So if you see that, you'll know it's me. Do I think the Highlander reboot will be any good? I have mixed feelings about it, because I don't think Highlander needs to be rebooted. There's only one Highlander movie, by the way. What do I think about the reboot? I think Cavill will be good. Chad Stahelski is directing. He knows how to do action. I'm very curious to see who plays the other characters, because we haven't been made aware of that yet. You know, who's playing Ramirez? Who's playing the Kurgan? We don't know. And until such time as they start giving us more details, you know, I'm cautiously optimistic, is what I'll say. But we don't know what's going on with that production right now. And you're welcome. Yes, everybody, please subscribe to one another. And if you are new to my channel, if you're seeing me for the first time and you like what you see, you like what you hear, please feel free to subscribe. This is the road to 2,500. Don't reboot the Highlander series or films ever. Yeah. Also, did you watch Battlestar Galactica 2004 series, and did you like it? I love it. It's one of my favorite shows of all time. When a show's worst episode is still better than anything you're going to see, you know, yeah, I liked it quite a bit, and it's a show that would be considered woke now, which is the odd thing, you know, because of all of the race swaps and gender flips, which I didn't mind, you know, because I kind of divorce the original series from the reboot, because there's so much more. They're so different from one another that I can look at them as separate entities, you know. The original series was basically Star Wars for television. That's what they were going for, and that's what it was. And you could, in Apollo's Luke, you know, and Starbucks Han, you know, and you can see that in Cassie's Leia in a lot of ways. You know, you could see the influence of Star Wars on Galactica, the original series. Now, the reboot obviously is a lot darker. It is more hard sci-fi, and but it worked. It worked for me. I'm a big fan of it. And for the people who are fans of the original series not liking the 2004, I understand. I get it. They're two different shows. The original show should have been allowed to play out, though. And I agree with JPRPH1 here in the chat. I don't mind a lot of the swap type things. The story is solid, and yeah, I mean that was the thing. Was that the storytelling was solid, and it had its own lore, and they stuck to it for 5 seasons. BSG reboot was one of my favorite reboots. Usually I don't like them. Same. Yeah. I'm a big BSG fan. It might be time for me to sit down and rewatch that. I don't know. I have the original series on Blu-ray as well. So, I'd like to sit down and watch that again because it's been so long. The actor who played the original Colonel Ty, he passed away recently. And Richard Hatch passed away right after the reboot because he's in that as well. And he fought to get the original show back on, and it's too bad that never happened, because I would have liked to have seen that. I would have liked to see the original Galactica crew reach Earth and what would have happened in that world, Not to be. My favorite sci-fi shows are classic Doctor Who, Blake 7, classic Star Trek. Tom Baker and Christopher Eccleston are the best actors for the part. Genesis of the Daleks is my favorite episode. Since as a race, gender, sexuality swaps done many years ago didn't feel like agenda motivated like they do now. That's why I don't think of most of them as woke like it would come across today. Agreed. Yeah. I mean, I didn't see anything that would be considered agenda motivated in the new BSG anywhere. I thought the story was solid. Mikey says, I met Terry Carter on the set of The Highwayman in '87. He was a very humble man, as well as Sam Jones, Jane Badler, Tim Russ, and Jacko. Yeah. Yeah, The Highwayman. I remember that show. Yeah. Fun show. I liked it at the time. All right. Well, Geeky Geezers is going to be starting here in a few minutes, so I want to start winding down the program. I want to remind everyone that the other side of midnight will begin at 12:05 Eastern, 11:05 Central. I'm going to have a special panel of guests joining me, including hopefully a first-time guest who hopefully will be able to join us. Love The Highwayman. I acted as an extra on 3 episodes of The Highwayman 2. Great cast. Outstanding. All right. So let me get something off of my my shelf here. For the on my shelf segment this week is the latest book by a man named Garrett Graff. And he wrote The Only Plane in the Sky, which was about 9/11. He recently did a book about Watergate. And this is his new book called When the Sea Came Alive, An Oral History of D-Day. And I picked this up from a local store in the past week. And hopefully here pretty soon, I will get a chance to read this. And here you get some pictures. Here's the back cover as well. So my off-the-shelf pick of the week, When the Sea Came Alive, An Oral History of D-Day by Garrett M. Graff. And I also highly recommend The Only Plane in the Sky as well. So check that out. All right. 35 of you watching. Thank you all very much for joining me. I like these chat Q&As, you know. I want to start doing more of them. So have your questions ready for next time. Thanks, everyone. Great D-Day stories from Graff. Right? I'd like to ask you, why, when a franchise is popular, then it becomes hijacked and the canon becomes completely unrecognizable. Why do they think it's a good idea to do that? I wish I knew. I wish I knew, Lee. Doctor Who has been hijacked. So is Star Trek, Star Wars, obviously. They're going after Warhammer now. The thing you have to understand about these people is they think there's an audience for what they do. And they think they're saving lives. They think they're teaching the people from the quote unquote the flyover states lessons. That's their attitude. And it's an attitude I don't like. You know, but it's where we're at now. And my advice is to just, you know, hashtag wallets closed, hashtag walk away. You know, you don't have to watch. You are not Nestoraphobe if you don't watch. You are just showing good taste, I think. And thank you, Lady Mist, Emoji Queen, for the links. Yes, The Other Side of Midnight coming up tonight. Okay. Take care. Take care, Curtis. Yeah, we're about to wrap it up. Geeky Geezers should be on right about now. BSG was different but good, so it can be done well if they try. Yeah. You know, and the people who did BSG, they put thought into it. You know, and they had a plan going in for what they wanted to do. And thank you, Curtis, for the super sticker. Can't see what it is, unfortunately. But thank you. All right. This on Twitter. I hope that you enjoyed the show. I want to say hello to everyone. Lady Mist, Curtis, Connie, Mikey, Lee, Shadow of the Raven, Big Al Presents, Steve Penzak, Sin's Corner, JPRPH1, Shashi, Matt Cheatwood, Aged Boomer, Fluff Chick Productions, FKHC 2005, sometimes known as Tim. Yeah, it was that deleted scenes guy. He was okay. Head on over to Kiki Geezers. Catch me later on tonight for The Other Side of Midnight. Oh my, have been on for a minute. Yeah, we've been on a little over an hour now, about to wrap up the show. Thank you, Enigma. And keep an eye on your email, Enigma. I'm going to be sending you a message here in a bit. From HQ and all points, north, south, east, west, and beyond. Good night. Take care. Stay strong, because this is how we win.